Hey YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. As you can see here, I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Aquaforce deck. Specifically, this is the build that I ran over the weekend for Michigan's ARG states. It ran really well. In Swiss, I had kind of undefeated going to Swiss, going to top 8, I should say. I won the first 4 rounds, and in the fifth round, we didn't even play it out. Um, I we because I was for sure going to be in first place, so me and the guy just drew so that we could have the hour to eat food and things. But so and then in top 8, I played against Chaos, uh, Link Joker. Won that matchup pretty easily, 2-0'd it. I only had to go to game 3 twice during the whole tournament. In top 4, I had to play against Ripples. Probably of the people in the top 4, the worst deck I could have played against. Um, but this deck still has a good aggro game, even if I'm not striding. Um, so like game 1, he didn't draw um, Odysseus right away, and so I beat him down really hard. Without Odysseus, the deck kind of falls apart. And then game 2, he got me, and then game 3, it came down to I had to guard 1 to pass while he's on grade 2, and he passed. So that's it. But yeah, still pretty cool. So get into the deck profile. So for grade 3s, for Thavas, best part of this guy is his name, honestly, but his stride skill's still pretty good, although not the best. His GB2, pretty useless. I almost never have to resort to using it, but it's not very good. My secondary grade 3, who is a big deal for why I won a bunch of games and stuff, is Skyros. Like in my top 8 match against Link Joker, I intentionally rode this card, and it really messed with my opponent. This card in certain matchups just like can win you games. Like in Link Joker, it's good. Obviously, Kagero. Um, yeah, like Dimension Police can protect you from your shields breaking. This card kind of automatically beats Mega Colony. Just a very good card. And I ran it as like my secondary grade 3 to ride because he has a pretty decent skill, and that GB1 is really great. And then I ran 9 grade 3s so I could run 1 Diamantes. I really like him. That he's got no cost, and I can still just drop him, and he's not Legion or Generation Break restricted. And the deck uses grade 3s, can use them very easily as attackers, more so than other decks. And it's a stride deck, and that's why I felt it was more appropriate to run the 9 grade 3s. For the grade 2s, 4 of her. Probably one of the best cards in the deck. As I said, one of the best things about Thavas is the cards you get to run because of him, like her. She is a big contributor why this deck does so well. It's a very good card. I ran 3 Tidal Assault. 4 is too much in my opinion. I almost felt like 3 was too much, but I think it was actually just right. I don't think I'll play 4, but I liked it at 3. 2 Sailors. I like her at 2, maybe 3, but 2 works really well. I haven't really felt an urge to change it. I could maybe do it down the road, but I like 2. 1 Magnum Assault. He's an okay card, but I don't like having him that he has to rely on having a booster, and he's a GB1, so I just ran the 1 of him. And 1 High Tide Sniper. I very rarely see this card, but he's pretty good when I do see him. He hits really strong, especially the turn that you go into Lambro. So, but I don't like this deck. Soul lasts a lot, so only running 1 for the perfects, or for the grade 1s. 4 perfects. The damage on flipper. Although the old school perfect guards are great and that they can protect you from like D-Police and stuff, I wasn't really worried about D-Police because of Skyros, so I would prefer to have the damage on flip since this deck counterblasts a lot. 4 Stride Assistant Nickies. 2 of her. She is fantastic. She is probably like my favorite grade 1 in the deck. Wave 3 counterblast plus 5 if your Vanguard's a Thavas and you draw, and she has resist. She's very good. I like her a lot, and you can use her like twice in the same turn. So even if you have the Thavas, if you go into the Thavas turn, you'll be able to use her twice and draw twice. Part of why this deck ran so well, I truly believe, is all the draw power in the deck. The deck is so aggro that you don't have to try to make it more aggro. It just has aggroness come out of it. So if you added the high draw power to the deck to make the deck consistent, so that you always have resources and you're always drawing into your combos, that's how I built the deck. And speaking of draw power, I also ran 2 penguins, very helpful as well. And then 1 Stacia, she's just in there to be a additional attacker if I need her. That glare is awful, I am sorry. But she contributed a lot to the deck too. There are a lot of combos, I'll mention them in a little bit, I got to do with the deck. Like this card a lot. Don't think I'd play more than 1 though. My starter, I ran Mitros. I love this card. This card is fantastic. Very well designed card. He's slower because he's a GB1, but once you do start striding, he is a fantastic card. This card is very good. The triggers, I did 7 crits. This card is amazing. It's better in this deck more so than like other decks that have clones of this card. In this deck, it's just so good. Like, even if you just throw it down and attack for 4 and don't hit anything, I got your additional attack, and then she leaves the field and replaces herself drawing a card. Very, very good card. And she goes to the soul. Like, that's a big deal too. Very, very helpful in the deck. So I did the 7 crits and I did 5 draws, as you guys see me do a lot. And as I said, I feel like this deck needs draw power to make it run well. It's already aggro enough that I'm not so worried about the crits. I wanted the draws to help the deck be consistent and have resources. Then 4 heals. For the grade 4 lineup, Tidal Boar, what's his name? Aristotle. Aristotle's for like killing like Judge Bao. And then 4 Lambros. And then those notice there's a card missing. I ran 2 of the grade 4 Thavas. I don't own them. I borrowed them from a friend. I don't own them because I've never bothered to pick them up, because I almost never ever in playtesting I've ever needed them. I borrowed them from a friend just so I could have it just in case. And I used him 1 time over the weekend and it won me the game. So I'll actually get into that. So it goes back to my top 8 matchup against Chaos Breaker. Game 1, I won because of Skyros. Game 2, I pushed him to 5 damage. He triangle locked me. On my turn, I strode to the grade 4 Thavas. And then I called Adelaide. She became an 11. I had Thavas give her the +5 and the ability to attack from the back row, so now she was a 16 that could attack from back row. Thavas swung. He perfect guarded her. I drove check a crit. She picked it up, and then she came in for 21 crit, and then restood, and then 21 crit. So yeah, this card is pretty amazing, and that's very specific scenario won me that game. That was pretty cool. Yeah, this deck had a lot of like really cool things and a lot of moves that people weren't like expecting, like that. But then again, it's also just Aquaforce. There was one matchup that was also pretty cool. I was playing against Liberators in Swiss. I had Tidal Assault hit a rear guard before the Lambros attack, so that he didn't have to stand up yet. I restood him as a 19 with Lambros. He guarded my attack off my drive check. I drove check like 3 triggers, so he picked up all 3 of them, and he was like a 34 with like 2 crits on him that could attack twice now. Yeah, my opponent just scooped at that point. Yeah, the deck ran very well. I had a lot of fun playing. This is the first time I've ever played Aquaforce in a tournament. But thank you all for watching.